Let's go Niners. Let's go Niners. Let's go Niners. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Week one is finally upon us, faithful. How's everyone doing on a Sunday morning? We are about an hour and 15 minutes from kickoff. I know everyone is excited as I am. The 49ers and Bears meet week one to kick off the NFL season. 49ers will be in Chi-Town. And speaking of Chi-Town, I do have a Bears fanatic YouTuber by the name of APW Sports. He loves his Chicago Bears, and I brought him on the show today to get some insight of the Chicago Bears offseason, their outlook for the season. Feel free, if you're watching on Facebook, shout out to you, YouTube, Twitter. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, you subscribe. And this is an interactive show. Feel free to leave your thoughts in them comments. And of course, I will we'll be interacting with everyone in the show. But let's bring on APW Sports. How is your morning going?
What's very good morning. Very good morning. I hate that it's raining, but
yeah,
very good morning.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope for, and it's funny because I was looking at the Chicago weather this week, and it was sunny every day, and it is the first day it's rained in weeks in Chicago. So very funny that it's happening on a football Sunday. So.
Right.
But yeah, let's bring up this weather real quick because I think this will play a factor in the game today. There's no doubt about it. We take a look at the weather report. It's 100% chance of rain, and it's pretty much going to be raining throughout the entire game. So AP, man, how do you think this will affect the game? Do you think this could be a high-scoring game, low-scoring game? What
Definitely low scoring. Definitely low scoring. You got two young quarterbacks. Definitely a very low scoring game. Easily, especially with the rain affecting the passing game. Yeah, I see this as a low scoring game. You got new turf at Soldier Field. So I see it being low scoring.
And I saw earlier this morning, I think it was on ESPN, there was a tarp over the turf, and I would assume they keep that over the turf the entire week. But eventually you got to take that bad boy off, let the players come out, warm up, test their cleats, see if they have the right cleat length and all that good stuff. So that the equipment managers will definitely be very busy today because it's going to be a wet and sloppy field. So faithful and Bears fans, y'all got to calm down y'all expectations for this game. This is not going to be a high-scoring game. I think the over-under in this game was like 40 or 41 points. It's definitely going to be under that. I think both teams will run the ball a lot. Ball security will be imperative in this game. I think, honestly, whoever can make the most field goals, have the least amount of turnovers, and whoever plays the most disciplined football, I think they will come out and win this game. Hopefully, of course, my Niners win, but we'll see. I think the Niners are the more talented team, but it really doesn't matter at this point. You know, both teams still have to come out and execute. So, and as the faithful can see, and Bears fans, and Bears fans, if you're in here, make sure you check out APW Sports if you haven't already. All his social media links are in the description of this video. TikTok, IG, Twitter, YouTube. Make sure you guys check out APW Sports. And what can Bears fans and NFL fans in general expect from you, APW Sports, on all your social media platforms this upcoming year?
One, creative content, consistency. It is not going to be extremely biased towards the Bears. As much as I am a Bear fan, as much as people can see that, I'm going to be talking about all the teams, including your Niners, things that I like to see, things that I would want to see, storylines, all that type of stuff. You will just see that stuff. No bias at all. And anybody who's going to criticize the Bears, me. So no biasness.
Full transparency, man. I think that's the best way, man. That's the best way. I gotta say, what's good to Tacky Wacky? Thanks for tuning in to the stream this morning. We are about an hour and 10 minutes away from kickoff. Niners, Bears, week one. I can't wait. We got Bay Area throwbacks in the building. What's good? It is absolutely Niner time. Absolutely. Now let's get into some news that just came out about, I would say, maybe 12 to 16 hours ago. And that's 49ers tight end George Kittle. I like to call him the people's tight end, the best tight end in the NFL. He's unfortunately going to be out. He suffered a growing injury. Yeah. He suffered a growing injury on Monday in practice. I mean, it could have been during the Texans game, that preseason game, because they had a few days off after that. And, the first practice after the game was on Monday, and he aggravated his growing injury, his growing strain, I should say. It's a grade 2 growing strain. I did a quick Google search. He should be out 3 to 6 weeks, but we are talking about NFL.
Right.
So that could be, a week and a half, so
that part.
So unfortunately, he won't play. Do you think he will have his absence? Do you think that would be significant for the 49ers? Do you think that's something the Bears can use to their advantage?
Yeah. Especially you take out one of the best, if not the best tight end in football.
Yeah.
That changes the 49ers offense a lot. Even if getting Debo and Ayuk, and you got Elijah Mitchell, I'm not sure, because I've been hearing stuff about him being injured as well.
Yeah, Mitchell's a full go. Mitchell,
okay,
he had a hamstring injury throughout training camp, so he didn't play in any preseason games, but he did. He was a full participant in like the last 2 weeks of practice. So yeah, I would expect to see Elijah Mitchell, but I think we'll see a lot of our running backs. I don't think Elijah Mitchell is going to get 20 carries. I don't think Shanahan's going to do that. We drafted, 2 running backs in this draft. Actually, no, we drafted 1 running back, and we have a UDFA that's on our active roster. So I think we'll see at least 3, maybe 4 running backs who carry the ball potentially in today's game versus the Bears. But, George, we do have 4 active tight ends, including George Kittle. We got Charlie Warner. He's been with the team for a few years. He's an excellent blocker. We got Ross Dwelly. He can catch and block. And then we brought in Tyler Kroft, a free agent this offseason. So, yeah, and I think he's best suited as a catcher. So good thing we have got 4 tight ends on this roster. And I think with George Kittle being out, it sucks, but I think it'll give other guys opportunities. And I just don't think Trey's going to pass that much in this game.
I don't either.
I think maybe 20 passes, if that. I think,
with the elements,
Yeah, with the elements, you're going to have the sloppy ball. You're going to, the footing's not going to be great. It's not ideal. So I think it's just going to be whoever can run the ball, win the time of possession. So I know Twitter's going to go crazy saying, oh, well, Trey Lance didn't throw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. Well, we're not worried about that.
Thing with Fields.
Yeah,
Twitter has the same thing with Fields.
Exactly. It's like they want the guys to have stats. And I know some of the people that say that it's all about their fantasy points and all that. But, I don't know about you, AP. I don't really care about that when it comes to the team. I just
Not with my own team, no.
Yeah, exactly. I just want the team to go out there, get better week by week and, put up, wins, on the record. That's what's most important to me. So, but yeah, that just came out 12 hours ago. 49ers tight end George Kittle will not play versus the Bears. We also activated someone that the Bears fans know, and I don't know if you guys love or hate this guy, but Tayshaun Gibson Sr. He has some of his best years with the Chicago Bears. Yeah, so we brought over Tayshaun, I would say, within the last 3 weeks. He played a little bit in our last preseason game versus the Houston Texans. We're banged up. I feel like the captain of this defense, one of the longest tenured 49ers, Jimmy Ward, a safety, he unfortunately suffered a hamstring injury. He's on the IR right now, so he's going to miss the first. Yeah, he's going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season. So we had to bring over some, veteran moxie, and I think that's what Tayshaun provides.
Yeah.
And because opposite of him at that strong safety spot, we have Talanoa Hufanga. But he's a second-year guy. It's his first year starting. We no longer have Jaquiski Tart. We know he was here for many years. But what are your thoughts when you think about Tayshaun Gibson and his time with the Chicago Bears? What are your thoughts on him? Are they fond memories?
His time with the Bears, honestly, he wasn't bad at all. Mm-hmm. It's just the Bears just let him go because of the youth movement. But overall, he was actually very solid. I didn't have really too much of a problem with him. He did get lost in coverage every now and then. Yeah. But I think that was more the system than Tayshaun Gibson's talent himself. So he actually wasn't that bad at all.
Yeah. And since he was brought up to the active roster today, I anticipate we'll see him out there. I think we could see a combination of, Tayshaun And we have Tavarius Moore, a younger safety who's coming off an Achilles tear, didn't play all of last year. Also, we have George Odom. He's a special teams guy we brought over this offseason from the Indianapolis Colts. And I think we'll see, a mix of those three players. And speaking of injury report, let's talk about the Bears injury report real quick. I noticed there were 2 players on that list. Let me just bring this up real quick. Okay, so here's the list. I'm gonna blow this up so everyone can see it. Let's see. So the Chicago Bears. So there's 2 players on this list. We have. Let me pull that up again. We have. I think it's Velus Jones. Yeah,
he's out. From what he's out. He's out.
Yeah, so he's out, and I think it's one other guy,
Robinson, young pass rusher.
Right, exactly. So, those 2 guys are, what were you expecting? I know the Velus Johnson, I think he was a rookie you guys drafted this year, right?
They're both rookies.
Yeah, okay. And Velus was the wide receiver. Yeah, okay. So, what are your expectations for him, throughout this season?
For Velus, I think, number one, he's going to be very good as far as punt returning. We saw a little bit of it in preseason. He has very, very good speed. He has some size to him as well. So I think as he gets more acclimated into Justin Fields and Luke Getsy's offense, he's going to be productive. And the front office of Dominic Robinson, they think extremely high of him. They think he can come in and be a guy that eventually takes over the Robert Quinn role whenever Robert Quinn either ages out or they let him go because of the youth movement. But he's a very, very good player from what I've seen of him in the preseason as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and I obviously I would love to see the Bears at full strength. I don't wish injury on any squad. And just to go back with the 49ers real quick. So we know about George Kittle, Daniel Brunskill, who can basically play any position along the offensive line. He's not expected to play, but we are getting Mike McGlinchey back, Oren Burks, Eric Armstead, Dre Greenlaw. So all those guys will be active and ready to go. And let's briefly talk about matchups. And then I will get to the comments. Shout out to everyone who's tuning in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you're ready for week 1 NFL football between your Niners and the Bears. But let's talk about Mike McGlinchey versus Robert Quinn. Now, Robert Quinn, he had 18 and a half sacks last year. Yeah, he was a beast. He's your guys' obviously best edge rusher. And Mike McGlinchey last year, he played pretty well. I think he played 7 games and then he suffered a quad tear, which some would say it's difficult to come back. There's no guarantee he'll have the same quickness that he had at that tackle spot. And he also was dealing with a knee injury in training camp. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. It sucks for Mike McGlinchey. He's coming into a contract year. Obviously, guys love to put on their best film in the last year of their contract so they can strike that generational wealth. But it'll be interesting to see how Mike McGlinchey holds up in these wet and sloppy conditions and going up against, a Pro Bowl, All-Pro player and Robert Quinn. Who do you think has the advantage in that matchup?
I'll be biased with this one. I think Quinn has the advantage. Yeah, especially when you said McGlinchey's dealing with a knee injury and Robert Quinn, even though he kind of held out a little bit, but that bend he has, that bend he has around the corner and the edges. I've heard a lot of other offensive linemen talk about how hard that is to block. Yeah. So I'm gonna give Robert Quinn the speed and the edge. I'm gonna give him the edge on this one.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to deny.
It's hard to deny talent.
Yeah, he's a beast. You look at him in his career; he's had multiple double-digit sack seasons.
Yes.
And man, he is the Bears' best pass rusher. Now, does he normally line up on the offense's left side or right side?
Now, in last year's scheme, he was everywhere, but we are switching from 3-4 to 4-3.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. Of course, he didn't really play much in the preseason, so you can only get so much of it.
Right.
So I'm not actually sure what they're going to do with him. So that actually makes this more interesting with it.
Yeah, it does. because we got, the big silver back Trent Williams on the left side. Yeah, so I have no problem with Robert Quinn lining up against Trent.
I ain't gonna lie, he's the best left tackle in football.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah,
I'll just say that right now. Period.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you, man. Completely agree. And so it'll be interesting if Robert Quinn lines up against Trent Williams. I think, hey, that's a pretty good matchup.
That's going to be a matchup.
I think there'll be some plays where Quinn has the upper hand, and I think in some plays Trent will have the upper hand. Mm-hmm. Now, when he lines up against McGlinchey's going to have his toughest test so far this season, and that's for sure. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. We will talk about the new regime within the Chicago Bears organization because they completely stripped it down. New GM, new head coach, new D coordinator, offensive coordinator, special teams. Everyone's new. We'll definitely get into that. But I got to say what's up to a few people in the comment section. So we got Rick Diaz. What's good? Rick says he is at Soldier Field. Salute to you. Yeah, he says, I just saw Fred Warner. I saw Nick Bosa. I am here at the stadium, but have a great weekend. Have a great weekend as well, man. Enjoy some football. Stay safe out there, man. Bay Area.
Dry.
Exactly. Try to stay dry. Hopefully you got your park out there, man, because, it's going to be raining the entire game. So Bay Area Throwback says offensive line not looking good this year. I think, and I'll speak to that. I'll speak to the offensive line. So obviously, besides Trent at left tackle, we're stable there. Best left tackle in the game. And then last year we had Lincoln Tomlinson. He was a Pro Bowl caliber player for us. He was here with us for 5 seasons. He left through free agency this offseason. He got the bag from the New York Jets, man. He earned every penny. We also had Alex Mack last year, a veteran. Yes. He retired this offseason, right? Then at right guard, we had Daniel Brunskill, and I think he was solid. He's kind of known around the 49er fans as like the Aaron Donald stopper because he rises to the against Aaron Donald, right? But now, so Brunskill's hurt, so he won't be playing today. At center, we have Jake Brindle, who's basically been a career backup. He hasn't really played many significant snaps in the regular season. And now we have at left guard, we have Aaron Banks. We drafted him last year. It was kind of like a red shirt year for Banks. He didn't play really any significant snaps because Lincoln Tomlinson was ahead of him. So now you got a rookie at left. You basically got a rookie at left guard. You got an unexperienced guy center. And now at right guard, we have Spencer Burford. We drafted this year. I believe it was in the 4th round. He proved to be the best guard out there, so that's why he's starting. So we have 3 inexperienced players along the interior of the offensive line. It'll be interesting if the Bears can exploit that. And then at right tackle, you got McGlinchey, and he's a question mark. Can he hold up in these conditions? Can he hold up against a pass rusher like Rob Quinn? So that's what our offensive line is looking. I think from week to week, we'll get better. But there's going to be some penalties. There's going to be
with our offensive line. Our offensive line is the same way.
Same way. Okay.
We have a rookie at left tackle in Braxton Jones.
Yep.
The only experience we got is Cody Whitehair at left guard. Lucas Patrick, who we just signed in free agency.
Okay.
You have Tevin Jenkins, who we drafted last year to be a tackle. He moved to right guard. And you got Larry Burrow, who's both in their second years. He's at right tackle. So we have a lot of inexperience. Especially on the outsides.
Yeah, so it seems like both offensive lines, I think, will struggle. But what offensive line love to do, they love to run block. They love to be road graders. They love to, to bully their opponent, to be the initiator of the contact. And that's usually what happens in running plays. So, you guys got a pretty good 1-2 punch. I think it's
Montgomery and Herbert.
Right. So what do they bring? It seems like Montgomery is like, well, I'll let you answer. What do they bring to the Bears offense? How do they help this Bears offense get better?
Now, Montgomery, very, very physical. Very physical running back. He has deceptive speed. He's not necessarily the fastest, but his speed is very deceptive. Very strong. His jump cuts are crazy good. He can read the defense's blocks very good. And the thing he is good at is breaking the initial tackles. You're going to get him running through the initial tackles. He's going to fight for extra yardage. Khalil Herbert, he's a little bit of a smaller back. He can do more as far as the passing game goes and the screen game goes than Montgomery does. But they both are very physical running backs, very tough runners. It's just Herbert has a little bit more speed. He can do a little bit more in the passing game. But they're both very solid at what they do.
And then you add in Justin Fields and his running ability.
Yes.
And the 49ers saw that firsthand last year. And it's funny because that game last year, I think the Niners came in at 2-4, and we were at a point, we were kind of like at a fork in the road. If we lost this next game, if we lost this next game against the Bears, we probably would have started Trey Lance from there on out. But we got a big game from Debo. He had that huge, I think it was like a screen pass, took it to the house.
Long pass.
Jimmy threw for 300 yards. But hey, Justin Fields, and this was one of my keys for the 49ers defense. You got to contain Fields, keep him in the pocket, don't allow him to escape the pocket. That'll give time to the receivers to get open. And we've seen him, man. He can run with the best of them at the quarterback position.
Yes.
It's funny because you got two young athletic quarterbacks who are the new faces of the franchise. So it'll be interesting to see, how this game plays out and how Justin Fields fares against this defense. Let me just say what's up to a few more people in the comments, and then we'll talk about the Bears, new brand spanking new coaching staff. Rick Diaz says red and gold are in the house. Grilling roads are in the house. Either go to sleep, go 49ers game. All right, man. Have fun out there. We got Libby's World in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Libby's World. She says, what's good? Let's go faithful. We got DDC in the house. What's good? I know you're excited for the game tonight, man. That's for sure. Actually, in 53 minutes, I know you're excited. We got Grandizer in the building. What's
good, Brandon?
Appreciate you tuning in tonight or today, man. Thanks for coming on to the stream. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears coaching staff. So it's a complete, turnover of coaching staff, and they got a new GM, new head coach. New offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, the special teams coordinator, everything. The special teams coordinator is a former 49er coordinator.
Yeah, I knew he was going to bring that
up. So Rich Hightower, when he was with the Niners, I would say his last season, it wasn't good. It was putrid. Let's just be real. At one point in the season, Kyle Shanahan said, just don't lose the game for us. That's how bad the special teams were, right? Now, the special teams was huge, during that playoff game against the Packers, right? Where we get the block punt, and that kind of, won the game for us. So I think he kind of redeemed himself. But, hey, I hope the best for Richard Hightower. There's no ill will. Hopefully he does well with the Bears. But what are your thoughts on this new coaching staff led by Matt Eberflus?
Number one, I absolutely love it.
Okay.
I love it. It was a big, big change needed. And if anybody followed me for the last couple of years, they would know I hated Matt Nagy. I hated Matt Nagy. So to bring over a culture change that was very much needed, they cut a lot of the roster. They got a little younger. And accountability was the biggest thing that was missing from this Bears team the past couple of years. And Eberflus, he has brought the fire. And I absolutely love the things that he's done with this team. I don't care about as far as production goes. That's going to come with it. But as far as what he brings as accountability, guys practicing hard, guys working hard, that is a big, drastic change that this team actually needed. And then it's the best thing that could have happened.
And you mentioned the Bears player turnover. Khalil Mack was traded in the offseason. Allen Robinson wasn't retained.
Hicks, Cohen.
Yeah, I mean, those are
gone.
Yeah.
Nichols is gone. James Daniels left. It is a big turnover. But it was something that was much needed. Your roster was getting a little bit older in the tooth, especially on defense.
Right.
So to get young was something that was very necessary for this team.
And I think it's safe to say that the Bears are a rebuilding franchise at this point.
Extremely. The front office refuses to say it, but all the moves that have been made and the way that this team is constructed, it is in rebuilding mode.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. You said that the defense is getting old; they're no longer in their prime. There's still guys that can still contribute, no doubt. But you got a new GM that came in, and he wants to bring in his guys. He wants to draft and all that good stuff. Now, speaking of the draft, of the players that were drafted, do you see any of those players making a significant impact either in this game or throughout the season?
I would say two guys.
Okay.
Probably three.
Okay.
First is who we talked about earlier in Velus Jones.
Okay.
I think he's going to make a big impact at wide receiver when he's healthy. The second one is Kyler Gordon. You get a good corner outside of Jalen Johnson. Kendall Vildor is probably going to see some first-team reps more than likely on the other side, but Kyler Gordon has the potential to develop into that opposite corner outside of Jalen. And Jaquan Brisker, I think, is going to make the biggest impact right away because he's very physical. You can put him in a box. He does well in coverage. And I think that might be the potential steal of the draft, period.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, I appreciate that info. Gotta give a huge shout out to Blue True for this $10 super chat. Hot diggity dog. Appreciate that, Blue True. Happy Sunday, 49er faithful. Let's get it at Jay in the Bay and APW Sports. Appreciate that. Let's see. Let's continue on with these comments. Let's see. Grandizer says, yo, APW, what it is. Commented on your videos. My Lions content creator wants to collab with you this season. So make sure you reach out to APW Sports. All his social media links in the description of this video. So make sure you reach out. We got the Jonathan Lemon brand. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream this Sunday morning. Hopefully all is well. Let's see. We have Core 23, 20,
That's
33.
my guy, Core. Shout out to you.
Good. Hey, we got some Bears fans in here. That's all good. Make sure you guys, if you guys are enjoying the stream, if you're ready for some 49ers, Bears football, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to Jay in the Bay also and to APW Sports. Core says, first game, let's see how this turnover will be for Fields moving forward. And that's something that we discussed a little bit earlier was the turnover battle. And I think that's something, especially in these conditions, you got a young offensive lines on both sides of the ball. That I think that could be a determining factor in who gets the least amount of turnovers, who commits the least amount of penalties. And I think get ready for it. Both fan bases. It's going to be a sloppy game. Yes. But hey, we'll see who comes out on top. That's for sure. Now, going back to the matchup, so we talked about McGlinchey going up against possibly Robert Quinn and definitely how Robert Quinn is in a favorable position. Let's talk about the other side, Nick Bosa going up against rookie left tackle Braxton Jones. Woo! Is Braxton Jones going to get his welcome to the NFL moment via Nick Bosa?
Yeah. I love Nick Bosa, Ohio State guy. I'm sorry, Braxton. You got a tough one ahead of you.
Ooh. Now, with this new offensive coordinator that you guys brought on, it to me, just, hey, I'm not a football expert. I know these coaches, GMs, they've probably forgot more football than I know, right? But it seems like you should let's put a tight end next to Braxton. Let's bring a running back out to chip Bosa. Do you think that's something they'll do, or
that is very much something they've done? They've done it in the preseason, and I have no doubt. This is Luke Getsy did it a lot in the preseason. He did it a lot last year with Rodgers when he was with Green Bay, and I have no doubt he would do it again in this game. You're gonna have to slow down Bosa at some point. You're either gonna see chips from Montgomery, Komet. So yeah, I think they're gonna do that.
And it'd be interesting because, the defensive linemen, obviously, everyone has to play in the conditions, but the defensive linemen also, they're not playing in ideal situations either. So that could affect the defensive linemen as well and their get off and whatever type of moves they decide to do. But there's no doubt, Nick Bosa, he's coming off of, I think he wasn't all pro, or at least first team. He wasn't.
I can't remember for sure.
I think Max Crosby got in ahead of him. I think.
I don't remember right off the top of my head either.
Yeah, and Max Crosby, he's a hell of an edge rusher. There's no doubt about that. But I think Nick Bosa, he's coming into the fifth year of his contract. He's already got the 5th year, tag picked up, whatever. So he's going to make, $18 million. But hey, the 49ers and Bosa definitely want to work on a contract extension next offseason. And
they'll be stupid to let him go.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no way. It's almost like a blank check, especially if he has another Pro Bowl, all pro worthy season.
Yes.
And I think he will. And, he'll get another double-digit sack season. And, he'll probably be the highest paid edge rusher once it's all said and done. So But yeah, hey, Nick Bosa, that starts his campaign starts week 1 against a rookie left tackle. Unfortunately, the environment won't be ideal, but I think that's definitely a matchup in favor of the 49ers. Nick Bosa versus Braxton Jones for sure. David McNew, what's good? He says, what's good, Jay? Season starts in less than an hour. Let's get it. Absolutely. G12 has a question. He says, who scores the first TD for your respective teams? How about you go first, AP?
Monty. I don't see it being in the passing game just yet. I think if they get in the red zone, they're going to rely on Monty. So I say David Montgomery.
David Montgomery. Okay. All right. For me, I'm going to say I think it's either going to be one of our running backs. And I think obviously we'll see Elijah Mitchell. I think he'll start, but I think we'll also see Jeff Wilson Jr. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Jeff Wilson Jr. because I think we will see a rotation of running backs. I think we'll see Elijah Mitchell. We'll see Jeff Wilson Jr. I think we'll see Ty Davis Price. He's a 3rd-round running back we drafted this year. And we could see the undrafted free agent as well. And for some reason, his name is escaping me. It'll come to me. But I think one of those two guys, Mitchell or Jeff Wilson Jr., will get the first touchdown. And I'm leaning towards Mitchell. Or excuse me, I'm leaning towards Wilson getting the first touchdown. NYCE, what's good? He says, what's good, Jay and APW? It's Sunday, finally. Let's go faithfully. Absolutely. We got Kelts Chronicles, a 49ers content creator. What's good? Appreciate you tuning the stream. I know you are excited as I am. He says, faithful, rise up. Yee. I know I copied you. That's what you do, but you did that very well. He says, regardless of the weather, the 49ers will shine. Forecast, storm, Lance. Wow. All right. I like that. I like the sound of that. I like the sound of it. Hey, let's get into another matchup. Justin Fields versus the 49ers defense. What can the Bears do to keep this game competitive against, the 49ers defense? And that's probably definitely one of our strengths for sure.
Number one, you're going to have to use the run pass options that help benefit Fields and help him get better reads and quicker reads. You're going to have to be physical up front with that offensive line. Fields they're going to have to roll him out, especially to escape that pressure from Bosa. You have to use the bootlegs. You're going to have to use play action to really slow it down. So I think you're going to use a multitude of ways to help Justin Fields really develop, not just in this game, help him really push the ball down the field, because I think that's something they want to do more of in this offense. To kind of push the ball a little bit more. And you have speedy receivers and Pringle and Mooney as well. So I think you're going to utilize their speed to their advantage, not with just Fields, but the other weapons themselves.
And is Mooney, would you say Mooney is the best, wide receiver for the Bears going into this game?
That we have, yes.
Okay. What are your expectations of Dante Pettis?
I knew that question was coming too. I knew that was coming too. Honestly, I don't have really high expectations. I just want him to be solid. Okay. Be a possession receiver, somebody who can help Mooney outside of double coverage. I think they're going to put a lot of double coverage towards Mooney's way because him and Justin Fields have a rapport with each other. Yeah. So if Dante Pettis just come in and just be a productive player, that's all I really want from him.
I heard he was balling in preseason.
He had a very, very good preseason.
Hey, man, that's good. That's good to hear because, unfortunately, Dante Pettis, it didn't really work out with him and the 49ers. And obviously, it's good to see that he's doing well with another team. I think this would be his 3rd team. So it'll be interesting to see Pettis in a different uniform playing against the 49ers because we had high expectations for him but hey, like sometimes it just doesn't work out. So
right.
If he has a successful day with the Bears, with the 49ers win, I won't be mad at that. And speaking of the 49ers defense, it was definitely one of our strengths last year. We were a top 5 defense in a lot of the major defensive categories. And last year against the Bears, Josh Norman was starting at corner. Now, he did have an interception in the game, but I think we definitely upgraded the secondary. That was one of our weaknesses on our defense. The linebackers, I think we have the best linebacking core in the NFL. Defensive line is legit. We got a lot of depth in that defensive line, but we our prize free agent this offseason was cornerback Charvarius Ward.
Yes.
He played with the Chiefs. He played in a lot of big games. I think he is our number one corner. And it'd be interesting to see who matches up with Mooney, either Charvarius Ward or Emmanuel Mosley. Now, Emmanuel Mosley, he's a pretty good corner. This is his contract year, so he's trying to hit the bank next year. So hopefully he stays healthy, and maybe we can get some turnovers on Justin Fields, because that was one thing I noticed the Bears did a lot last year.
Yeah.
They were second in turnovers. So this is an offense that, let's face it, they give away the ball. So maybe that'll happen this year. Honestly, let's see, over under 3 turnovers in this game total for both teams. What's
over under? To be honest, the Bears were almost pretty clean in preseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys were undefeated in preseason, right?
That don't count. That don't count.
That could be a sign of things to come, man.
I would have to say I would take the even on that.
Okay.
I would take the even, because I have a feeling that somebody's going to lose the rock at some point.
Right. Somebody's going to fumble. Yeah.
Somebody's going to throw an inexcusable interception. So I'll say right there at 3.
I'm going to say over. I won't be surprised if both quarterbacks throw at least one pick in this game. And then one of the running backs, I think a running back on each team is going to fumble. I just can see it. A lot of the starters, they don't play in preseason nowadays due to the guys. They got to stay healthy. We saw the Rams, get the brakes beat off of them against the Bills. I loved that, man.
I loved it. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. Because the guys, they don't play the preseason due to concerns about injury, and there's no doubt that's a huge concern. A lot of the 49er defenders did not play in the preseason, like the major guys. I know Javon Kinlaw played a little bit. He played a little bit, Javon Kinlaw, but defensive tackle, but a lot of other guys didn't. So I think it's going to take time for these both teams to gel. It's going to take time. They got to get used to hitting and all that good stuff. So I'm trying to prepare the faithful and Bears fans, temper down your expectations.
It's going to be sloppy coming out.
It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be an ugly game. Sometimes it could be even considered a boring game. It's not going to be high scoring. I just don't see it. It's going to be raining the entire game.
Yeah.
Core says the keys to this game will be the D-line versus the O-line for both teams. And
I agree.
I'm a true believer in that as well. It's all about the trenches. If you can't block, hey, it's going to be an ugly day for whichever team that can't block. Kels Chronicles says, hopefully no injuries with rubber pellets mixed with water. It might be more sticky than slippery. Okay. Because
it actually is grass with the Bears.
It's real grass.
It's real grass.
It's real grass. Okay. And you said earlier this is a new field, correct?
New surface, yeah.
Okay. And I like Core's comment here. He says Braxton Jones is a steal in the draft. I don't see him struggling. I guess we will see. We will see, man. We shall see. Getting into another matchup, let's go to the other side of the ball. Trey Lance versus the Bears defense. Now, besides Robert Quinn, who else on that Bears defense stands out? Who else should 49er fans be concerned about besides Robert Quinn at that line?
I think the most underrated linebacker in football, Roquan Smith. The way he can fly
is he playing in the game? He ain't got paid yet. He playing? Okay.
Yeah, he's playing. Roquan Smith, easily. Okay. Him and Fred Warner, I think, are right there as far as linebacker goes. Roquan can fly all over the football field. So easily Roquan. And another sneaky player is the rookie that I was talking about earlier, Jaquan Brisker. Look out for him. I think he is going to be a very special player.
He was highly touted. He was highly touted coming out of the draft. Is he playing corner or safety for the Bears?
He's going to be a safety, opposite of Sad Eddie Jackson.
Okay.
So I'm Roquan and Jaquan Brisker.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. Roquan Smith, I think he was 5th in tackles last year across the entire NFL. So there's no doubt. He could bring the ball carrier down. And also, you mentioned the mix of you got the youth and the veteran movement at the safety position. So that's definitely something that the Trey Lance and the Niners will definitely have to account for. And I think a similar game plan that you mentioned Justin Fields will have for the Bears offense. I think you could literally do the same thing for the 49ers, run the ball heavy, work off play action, maybe some screen passes, try to negate Robert Quinn. You're going to have to put, a tight end with McGlinchey to help block Quinn and, maybe run at Quinn. Maybe that would be to try to tire him out.
They might have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Niners love, we could run the ball either side, but who wouldn't want to run behind Trent Williams, right?
Exactly.
So, we'll see, but that's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. Luke Zach says Debo, he thinks is going to score the first touchdown. Okay, because we know Debo Samuel will run the rock. And Debo Samuel got paid this offseason. It's worth every penny. But we do have a ton of running backs, so we'll see. We'll see how many carries for Debo Samuel gets, in this game. And the UDFA running back who we might see today for the 49ers is Mason. That's who he is, and he's probably third or fourth on the running back depth chart. Something else I was going to ask you. I think it was Trey Lance. Trey Lance going up against the Bears defense. It'll come to me. It'll come to me later. Let's see. Cora says APW Sports. Is there a wide receiver out there that can help the Bears? And Jay, do you think Trey Lance is ready to lead the Niners?
A wide receiver that can help the Bears? Honestly, they have him on that roster, but they're just hurt. N'Keal Harry hurt.
Yeah, you guys traded for N'Keal Harry, former first-round pick of the Patriots this offseason. What is his ailment?
He has a high ankle sprain.
And
those are, like Drake said, nothing to play with.
Yeah, nothing to play with. Those are the words. Just like, the growing injuries or the hamstrings. Yeah, it's just the high ankle sprain. That could be 4 to 6 weeks. Like, he's on the IR, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's going to miss the first 4 weeks, and hopefully he'll be ready to go week 5, but you just never really know. And, N'Keal Harry, he is a tall wide receiver, not necessarily a speedy guy. It didn't really work out with the Patriots. So, hey, maybe he could be, Kelvin Benjamin to Cam Newton. Maybe that could be something like that, a big body wide receiver who's a possession type guy. So,
yes.
We shall see. And Trey Lance, there's no doubt Trey Lance is ready to lead the 49ers. It's been an interesting offseason for the 49ers. We know Jimmy G, hey, he was instrumental in helping us get. Now, I'll say this. Jimmy G was instrumental in making the 49ers franchise relevant. I'll say that because 2 years when he was hurt, hey, we weren't even sniffing the playoffs, right? And no, he did not. He wasn't Tom Brady to our team. He wasn't Peyton Manning. He wasn't throwing, 400 yards a game, 50 touchdown seasons, but he managed the game and he always kept us competitive. So I respect Jimmy for what he's done for this team. He now is the backup quarterback. Let's be real. After he had the shoulder surgery this offseason, there really wasn't a market for Jimmy G. Teams did not want to take on his salary, which at the time was like $27 million. Yeah. And he couldn't throw. So he's still recovering. So Jimmy and the Niners, hey, they came to an agreement. He restructured his contract, so now he's getting paid 6.5 compared to 27.
I did want to ask you about that.
Sure, yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, do you think the 49ers restructuring the contract has something to do with their faith in Trey Lance, or they just want some reassurance?
I think, like every person in America, you got to have Geico. You got to have good insurance. And I think that's what Jimmy G provides for the 49ers. And, Shanahan and Lynch, they were very diligent and they did not want to just give Jimmy away for nothing. They did not want to release Jimmy and have another team pick him up. And I think also, I don't think the Niners believed in, their backup quarterbacks that often. Nate Sudfeld, he was the backup quarterback in the preseason and training camp. He got cut. And we drafted.
It was a guy in the 7th round. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Brock Purdy. Purdy. Yeah. So, Mr. What do they call
Mr. Irrelevant?
Exactly, Mr. Irrelevant. So he showed up and showed out. He was, hey,
he did look good.
He played pretty well during the preseason. He looked comfortable. He looked polished. And I think that's because Brock Purdy, he set all types of records at his college, ISU, Iowa State University. And he started all 4 years. So when he came in with, hey, nothing to lose, you're Mr. Irrelevant. I looked up the history of like the last 30 years of Mr. Irrelevant players. I think only like 4 or 5 actually played in regular season games. So it's
some
safe
of them
to
were
say,
too.
yeah, I think the best one of the last 30 years, he was either a punter or kicker, and he played like, 15 plus years in the NFL. But every other person, there were a few guys who, I think there were exceptions. There's like 3 guys over the last 30, 35 years who actually had a career. They played, 8, 10 plus seasons. But most of the guys, they don't ever sniff the field in regular season games. So, Brock Purdy, he had a chip on the shoulder. He had nothing to lose, and he came in and beat the backup quarterback in Nate Suffield. So if you're Shanahan, and keep in mind, he's only had 1 season where the starting quarterback played every game. 1 season out of 5, right?
Wow.
Also, you don't want to have a situation where you have the blind leading the blind. You don't want to just have Trey Lance, no experience, Brock Purdy, no NFL experience. So it's like, hey, if we could get Jimmy G, he cuts his salary by what, $21 million. You got a guy you can depend on if you need someone. If Trey Lance gets hurt, we know he can run the ball. He might be more susceptible to hits. I think it makes sense. The Jimmy fatigue factor among the fan base, among the Niners fan base, is real. It's there. And I totally understand. Yeah, I totally understand both sides, because Jimmy G, he just wasn't good enough. He just couldn't get it done. He didn't make that throw to Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl. That's what a lot of fans say.
I remember that.
But I think it makes sense because you try to build the best 53-man roster, and there's no doubt the experience that Jimmy G has is more valuable than what Brock Purdy can bring. Now, maybe Brock Purdy could be the backup next year, but at this time, I think it makes sense for Jimmy G to be the backup. And I don't think this speaks on Trey Lance. I don't think this means that the 49ers brass is unsure of Trey. I mean, how could you not be unsure? He's never played at this level. I mean, he played 2 games. Significant amount of time. He played 2 games last year. Okay. But they want to, cover their behinds. They want to make sure, hey, is this guy it? And if he does get hurt, I'd rather have Jimmy G than Brock Purdy, because I still want to be relevant. We still want to go to the playoffs.
It helps in the film room and watching that.
Yeah. So even on the sideline. Hey, Trey, what are you seeing out there? Jimmy's seen it all, so he can help you in that aspect. He's a good locker room guy. All the players respect him. The teammates respect him. Some guys may not like him, but they respect him for what he's done for this team. And I still think the 49ers have the full support for Trey Lance. I think they believe in him fully. I just hope that I don't care if Trey struggles. I don't care. If he's healthy, he should be out there every game. I don't care. For me personally, I'm willing to, I guess you could say, struggle throughout the entire season with Trey if he's healthy, then go back to Jimmy. I just don't think it makes sense to go back to Jimmy.
Especially when all the 49ers gave up to go draft them. And
exactly. You have to let the kid play. I don't care. I don't care what he does out there. You got to let him play. You traded up all this capital to get him. You can't, if he throws an interception in today's game, you can't pan to Jimmy and say, all right, Jimmy, come on. Like, no.
Right.
Hopefully that's what I hope for.
You're out there.
Exactly. You're out there. Just like the Bears are doing with Justin Fields. Hey, this is your team. This is your franchise. Go out there. And I think the Bears and Niners, a little bit different situation. The expectations are a little bit higher for the Niners. But I think this is still Trey Lance's team, and you just have to give him time to grow. And I think week to week, we'll continue to see improvement from Trey. And there's going to be some bumps in the road, just like with this interior offensive line. There's going to be bumps in the road because they don't have any experience. So that's my long-winded answer, Corey. That's my long-winded answer. And he is ready to lead the Niners, especially with all the weapons we have on this squad on both sides of the ball. I think we'll do, just fine. So, so let's see. Let's continue on with the comments. Sorry for my long-winded answer, but it's
hey, when you talk to your team, you can do that because I do that myself.
This is unprecedented with having Jimmy as a backup, and then you got Trey. So it's what everyone loves to talk about. Absolutely, Grandizer, no problem, man. I definitely will answer your question. We got Tommy Huxley in the building. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in, Tommy. Care Bears, all right. Jordan Mason, that is the UDFA running back out of Georgia Tech. Let's see. And Tommy, I think in response to Dante Pettis, he's saying he is always good in the preseason. So, we'll see what he does in the preseason. Do you anticipate Pettis lining up in the slot? Is he the third wide receiver on the depth chart?
I think they're gonna line him up in different places.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So
if he does line up in the slot, we have a brand new nickel corner who is a rookie, goes by the name of Samuel Womack, 5th round pick this year. Now he beat out Darquez Dennard, who we brought over last year. He was expecting to be the veteran nickel corner, and Samuel Womack played so well, we had to let Darquez go. So we went from K'Wan Williams the last 4 or 5 years, and now we go to a rookie at that nickel corner spot. I'm interested to see him and how he does against these Bears wide receivers in these conditions, because I think he had 2 or 3 interceptions in the preseason. Womack did. So look out for him. And hey, Pettis against Womack, that could be a potential matchup. So definitely looking forward to that. Let's see. I think Core gave an answer of Roquan Smith probably as one of the better defenders on this team. And what do you want to do if you're the GM? I think GM is Ryan Poles, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're Ryan, do you sign Roquan to a lucrative contract extension, 4 or 5 years, probably making him the highest paid middle linebacker, or do you release him and you go with the youth movement?
If I release him, I'm not the Bear fan no more. That's how much I believe in Roquan. Okay. Now, him not having an agent, I think that's a huge detriment to Roquan. Him representing
he doesn't have an agent?
No. Roquan represents himself in negotiations. And that I think that's what's hurting him right now. He don't have that middleman to kind of go back and forth with it.
Right.
And I think if he had an agent, it would have been done by now.
Wow. So he's pulling a Lamar Jackson.
Yes. Yes. And it's not a good thing right now.
Wow. Okay. Hey, well, yeah, I don't blame you. I think you should keep talent like that around. And you already let go of other veteran guys last year, or I should say this offseason. So, yeah, I think it would definitely be.
And he's still he's only 24, 25 years old. So he's not old.
Yeah. Tommy Hutchins says, I think the corners are not good on the Bears. It's time to exploit.
I disagree with that one. The Bears have some solid corners. I disagree with that one. I disagree.
And especially
David Johnson is very underrated. Okay. Very underrated. And Gordon, if he continues to develop, he's going to be solid too. So I disagree with that one.
Now the 49ers wide receivers, you got Debo, you got Brandon.
Yeah, y'all have some good receivers.
Juwan Jennings, and we added this offseason. We added Ray McLeod. Now he's a special teams guy from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's probably going to be our kick return, punt returner, I would imagine, and maybe he'll contribute a little bit on the offensive side of the ball. But we got us some speed, man. We got us some speed. A wide receiver out of SMU, Danny Gray. And that was something that this offense basically has been lacking. We haven't really had a speed guy since Marquise Goodwin, and that was I think Shanahan's first year with the team.
Yeah, we had him last year, so
nice. Okay, so you guys know about him, but Danny Gray, I think he'll add another element to this offense. And what Trey Lance brings is he's got the ability to throw the ball deep. I don't know if hopefully we'll see it in this game. I know the conditions are what they are, but hopefully we see a few deep shots. And I think Danny Gray could be on the receiving end of those. They linked up in the preseason, so that outside of Juwan Jennings, Ayuk, and Debo, you got Danny Gray who could run 4.2 40. He's very fast. So we're glad to have him. David says, I think all those young DBs will be good, but have to learn their lessons, as all young players have to do in the NFL. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. We got I agree with that. Charlie Warner is a good blocking tight end. Sejan says, what up, Jay and friends? Y'all ready? Absolutely. What's good? And speaking of players, Core says, honestly, I think the toughest player to watch for the Bears is Debo. That would be a good test for our young DBs and for our linebackers to help.
I agree. Yeah, 1,000,000%. I agree. Absolutely. He's going to be a tough matchup. The way you guys use him all over the field, backfield, slot, outside, screen game.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a tough defender.
Yeah, I mean he's a weapon. That's what he is.
There you go. It's not just a receiver; it's a weapon.
He can do it all on the field. No telling where he's going to line up at. He had an interesting offseason. I'm sure you heard of the news. Hey, I'm scrubbing my IG and all that. Hey, I don't want to be on the Niners no more. Trade me, get out of here.
With the club, with the thing.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, nah, man, nah. I think he got advice from his agent, who actually represented. I think his agent also represented DK Metcalf
and AJ
Brown, and I think the receiver for Washington as well,
McLaurin.
So all these wide receivers are hey, they want to get the max dollars, right? So I'm sure he told all of them, hey, you got to make some noise. The squeaky wheel, gets the oil. So you got to make some noise. You got to put pressure on the Niners organization, and I think that's what Deebo Samuel did. I know some fans are turned off, and I was as well. But this could be his last contract to really make the big dollars. Now, I know he will be a free agent, I think, when he turns 29. So he'll have opportunity to strike again. But it all depends how he plays. So, and if he's able to stay healthy. So I would say Trey and Deebo, their rapport wasn't the same as Trey and Ayuk. Trey and Ayuk, they were working out all this offseason. We saw videos on social media. But Deebo, he was kind of doing his own thing. He was more worried about his contract, and I respect that. He's got an opportunity to get that generational money. So hopefully we'll see. We'll see how Trey and Deebo link up in this game, see how they connect, see how that rapport is going. But there's no doubt Deebo's a weapon, and he can do it all on the field. Yeah.
Killed us last year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Core says, Jay, do you think the Niners have enough weapons for Lance to be successful? And do you think he'll be an elite pocket passer? I think he's definitely has the weapons. I think the issue with Trey is his accuracy. So some days we saw it in practice and training camp, even in the preseason a little bit. Actually, I think in the preseason, when I think about it, I think he played pretty well in the preseason.
I kept up with you guys.
I think he played pretty well. Now, sometimes he has he can throw the ball too hard, or sometimes his throws can be a little high. So his mechanics will definitely have to be something that
they tweak a little bit.
Exactly. He needs to fine tune it, and he needs to continue to work at it. But I think, hey, week by week, I think he'll get better. I don't know if he'll be an elite pocket passer this year, but I think he could definitely become that, because he's got the right mentality. He's very smart. He takes accountability when things don't go well. He says, hey, I that was my fault. I need to get better. Number 10, hey, sometimes he didn't always do that. He was a wee guy, Trey was like, no, it was my mistake. I need to get better. And he puts the work in. He's a grinder. So we are happy with Trey, and absolutely he can be an elite pocket passer. That's for sure. And that, I think, NYC answered that question about the Mr. Irrelevant players.
Ryan Suckup.
Yeah. So he had 15 plus year career. So he was one of the few. So Chris Peretti, what's good? He's given us a prediction for the game. He's got the Niners going to win. And for those who are watching, make sure you like, you subscribe, check out APW Sports. All his social media info is in the link of the description. Feel free to give your prediction of the game. We'll read out some predictions. So we're almost at an hour, and the game, hey, we're about 17 minutes away from kickoff. So let me get you out of here with this. I would say give a score prediction. Give a score prediction of the game and a few keys as to why you think the Bears could win this game.
Okay, I'm gonna give my keys first before I give a prediction, so I won't spoil it. Keys number 1 is what we talked about earlier, the trenches. You have to establish yourself in the trenches, both in O-line and D-line. You have to establish yourself in the trenches.
Okay.
Number 2, I believe the Bears have to stay strong in the running game.
Yeah.
They have to stay strong. With Khalil Herbert, with Montgomery, and the ability to use Justin Fields' legs, they have to stay committed to the running game. And 3, mistake-free football. No turnovers, no big penalties, especially when you have a young core like the Bears have. It's easier for them to get demoralized if they get mistakes, if they get turnovers. So key number 3 is to play mistake-free football. Score prediction, Bears fans are gonna hate me for this. They're gonna hate me. I said it in my preview video. I predict the 49ers win 24-20. It's gonna be close.
Yeah.
I just think the Bears are still a little bit young. 49ers have a little bit more experience. They have a little bit more to play for, especially coming off of what they did last year.
Yeah.
The Bears are in rebuilding mode. They're still going to learn how to win football games, and it's early. So I think you guys are probably going to make one or two more bigger plays than us, and it's going to be a close game, but 24-20.
All right. Hey, I respect that. I like your transparency. I respect that. So I would say a few keys for the 49ers to win this game versus the Bears. I think the 49ers defense is going to have to contain Justin Fields. We can't let him run wild like he did last year against us. I think he had over 100 yards rushing, I believe. Yeah. So we definitely have to contain Fields. We do have the same defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans, that we had last year. I think he's done a hell of a job, and this will probably be his last year with the Niners. If this defense is top 5 again, he'll get a head coaching job next year. Absolutely. So I think our ends are pretty much. We did draft Drake Jackson, so a rookie out of USC in the second round. That was our first pick this year, and they say he's got a great bend. He's looked pretty good in preseason. I don't expect him to start, but it'd be interesting to see when in pass rushing situations like 3rd and 10, 2nd and 12, whatever. I think Drake Jackson will be out there, and I'm excited to see this rookie, and I think he can help contain Justin Fields. So that's the number one thing. Contain Justin Fields. We also have to, I think we got to get some turnovers on this Bears offense. They were second in most turnovers last year. I think the 49ers can get some turnovers, whether it be interceptions, fumbles. We have a veteran secondary, at least at the corner spot. And I think Tyshawn Gibson, I think he'll be in there as well. He'll add to this, the veteran aspect of this defense. So I think those are two. And then for offense, it's just win the time of possession. Yeah. It's going to be sloppy conditions. You're going to have to run the ball effectively and, try to convert on 3rd down. That's going to be huge too on both sides of the ball, both teams. Yeah. You got it. If you can stay on the field, convert those 3rd down conversions, make the Bears defense get more tired, and make this Bears offense get off the field. I think that's going to be a key as well. So if the 49ers can do those things, and of course penalties too, that's a given every game. I'm going to say the Niners win this game. I think it's going to be close, and I think the Niners will win 21-13. I think that's my prediction for the game. Real close game. Oh, and also Robbie Gould is coming back as well. Robbie Gould is coming back to Chi-Town.
That's still a big mistake in my opinion for us.
Yeah.
That's still a big mistake.
I think the last time we did a stream last year, that was another. Yeah, Robbie Gould's coming back to town. So looking forward to seeing him. But huge shout out to you, APW Sports. Good luck to your team. Hopefully both teams stay healthy, and let the people know where they can find you all on social media and what to expect from you this upcoming season.
Okay, you can find me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and this YouTube, all APW Sports. I don't have different names for everything. Try to keep it all the same.
Yeah.
You can expect unbiased content. You can expect raw emotion because I'm an emotional guy. You can expect just pure honesty. And you already seen the transparency. I already predicted the Bears to lose.
Yeah.
So you can expect transparency and honesty with me.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Hoping health for both teams. Appreciate you coming out to join me on the stream today to preview the Niners and Bears. Oh, one more question.
Yeah.
Predict the final record for the Bears this year. How many wins, how many losses?
I've been saying this for the past couple of months. 7-10. I got a 7-10 record for the Bears this year.
And I think the Niners, best case scenario, I think 12-5. I think 12-5 playoffs. So, hey, man, I think Justin Fields, I think he's legit. He's fun to watch. And, man, hopefully the Bears haven't had a franchise quarterback in a while. I know Jay Cutler showed, glimpses. Well, at least Cutler, you guys went to the playoffs.
We didn't even make the playoffs with him but one time. No.
Okay. All right. Well, Well, hopefully Fields can be much better than Cutler,
Yes.
and you guys you have a franchise quarterback and lead you deep in the playoffs, man. But have fun watching the game, man. You have a great rest of your day, man.
Same to you, my brother. Same to you.
All right. And that was APW Sports. Make sure you check him out, all his social media platforms. Excellent content creator, very knowledgeable, knows his stuff, and hey, he speaks the truth about his team. We are 10 minutes away from kickoff. I wanted to finish up a few of these comments. We got Sean Tuber. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in the stream. I know you're excited for some 49er football. I agree with you, Tommy. Pettis does have speed. Tommy says so many rookies in this game. I'm expecting 50 penalties today. It could be rookies on both sides of the ball. Offensive line, both offensive lines are rookies. Bears have a rookie in their secondary. So it's going to be interesting. Rolando White, what's good? Tommy says David is speaking facts about covering Debo. It's definitely going to be a tough matchup for the Bears. Let's see. Rolando says we need better core management, back office, and ownership. I think he's talking about the Chicago Bears. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Tommy says I'm having anxiety about Ray. Yeah, he did have the fumble issues with the Steelers, so we'll see what happens. We got MBS in the house. What's good? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, MBS, he says it looks ugly out there on the field. Yes, it's going to be 100% chance of rain during the entire game, and it's weird because Chicago weather this entire week was all sunny. It was 70 degrees, and all of a sudden on Sunday, here comes the rain. So I think it's going to be a sloppy game, and don't expect I would say, a high scoring game. I think it's going to be penalties. I think there's going to be turnovers. And it's just going to be that type of the game due to the weather. That's for sure. Tommy says, Rolando, it's also week 1. Sloppy play usually is commonplace. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it looks like Rolando agrees with you with that. MBS says, I'm at the casino about to put a bet down on the Niners, man. Good luck on that bet. Good luck. Tommy, he gives his score prediction. He's got the Niners winning 3-0. Wow. Rolando says, I expect the basic from the rookies. I am looking for Justin Fields' performance this season, and we need a leader on the Bears. Okay. I think both teams will utilize this offensive play, this quick screens. There's no doubt. No doubt about that. And I appreciate you tuning in to the stream, NYCE. Appreciate you tuning in. Core says the Bears will win by 10. Rolando says the Bears will win by 15, not losing by more than 10 off the run. Okay. Hey, we'll see what happens, man. We shall see what happens. Grandizer, game's about to start. Absolutely. I will have a post-game live stream today at 3:00 Pacific Standard Time. And if you guys want to actually be on screen with me to talk about the outcome of this game, definitely come back 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Basically, I'll just share the StreamYard link in the chat. Feel free to call up. You probably have a few minutes to just chat about what you thought of the game. You don't have to be on camera, but if you want to, you can. And I just thought that'd be something cool to bring to, the Jay and the Bay show. So I'm testing it out, and we'll see how it goes. Core says our offense will be more established this year. Our run game will be better to enable us to pass the ball. The Bears defense will definitely be better. All right. I can't wait to see it. Core says, don't get me wrong. I think we are still building and growing, but I don't think Lance will dominate. I think he'll have early turnovers. If he does have a good game, honestly, I think the Niners win by 3. I think both quarterbacks will have turnovers. I think both running backs will fumble the ball. I think it's going to be that type of game. I think there'll be penalties easily. I think it easily be over 100 yards of penalties. I think it's just going to be a sloppy game. And Tommy says it's week 1. Anything can happen. Absolutely. Osby, what's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream, Osby. I know you excited about some 49er football, man. How was your summer? And hey, feel free to tune back in 3 p.m. today. And we'll talk about the Niners versus Bears game. And we're about 6 minutes away from kickoff week 1. Let's get it. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Go Niners. And I predict the Niners to win 21-13. That's my prediction. Go Niners.